Jeff Bezos surprised the entire world on July 5, 2021, when he formally left Amazon, having a $213 billion net worth and no longer serving as CEO. Bezos retired 7 years earlier and 172,000 times wealthier than the typical American retiree. Today, I have to admit that I am quite curious to know what Bezos has been buying with his billions. And since he put away his Amazon gloves, what wild new things has he been doing? Let's explore. A pricey divorce. As strange as it may sound, Bezos' first significant outlay following retirement coincided with the end of his marriage to Mackenzie. It happened quite promptly, the day after Bezos' formal resignation. He had been married to Mackenzie Bezos for 25 years when the legal divorce decree was made public, ending their union for good. The reasons for the divorce were not disclosed, but rumors circulated at the time that the Amazon billionaire had found another woman. This story was later validated when he was cited with Lauren Sanchez, a former TV anchor who is now a helicopter pilot on multiple occasions. But I really have no business with that. More specifically, I'm curious about Mackenzie's settlement money from the divorce. Boy, were those sums large. Because they didn't sign a prenuptial agreement before they were married, and Jeff Bezos found Amazon after they were married, Mackenzie was legally entitled to get 50% of the firm. However, this didn't happen, and if it had, she would have had a net worth of $56 billion, making her the richest woman in the world right then. The agreement they came to granted Mackenzie 25% of the stock that Jeff owned, which translated to her receiving 4% of the business. With that 4% holding, Mackenzie gained the equivalent of about 20 million Amazon shares, increasing her wealth by $38 billion, making her the third richest woman in the world. It undoubtedly made Bezos' wallets much lighter, deposing him from his $200 billion position, and may have prepared Elon Musk to overtake him as the richest person living. Bezos, a super yacht, a smaller yacht, and a sweetheart. Super yachts are said to be the billionaire's watery soulmates. The majority of billionaires either actively own or actively hire personal yachts. One would assume that since it's so typical among the 1% that billionaires like Jeff Bezos think of themselves as some sort of contemporary Jack Sparrow, even after losing a portion of his wealth to his ex-wife and retiring, he still managed to reach into his pockets and spend $500 million on a 417-foot super yacht, proving how much he loves super yachts. You did really hear correctly. As if that weren't insane enough, the CEO of Amazon is currently spending George Clooney's entire net worth on a yacht. Can you guess who just so happens to have a helicopter pilot license? The mega yacht will come with a smaller 246 yacht that is used only for landing helicopters. Elena Sanchez men, take note, these are the romantic activities that future billionaires engage in. On a more serious point, I thought it odd that a 417 boat would require a second yacht for helicopter landings, when ships that were conveniently only half its size could include 2 helipads. After doing some research, I learned that it had everything to do with Bezos' arrogance and everything to do with the extravagant, somewhat unneeded design that his super yacht would eventually feature. Those 3 enormous sails would present a challenge to anyone trying to land a helicopter on that yacht. And that, my friend, is a formula for disaster. On the other hand, the ship has been delayed because of the same enormous sails. They are so tall that the Rotterdam-based business creating this super yacht has thought about requesting permission from the Netherlands to tear down a historic bridge so the world record-breaking vessel may leave the city. As soon as Rotterdam residents learned of this, they raised holy hell, petitioned against the choice, and threatened to throw rotten eggs at the boat if the permit was approved. The project is currently at a standstill, but Bezos is still shelling out cash every day as we speak. This hasn't prevented the man, though, from reaching back into his large wallet to spend some more of George Clooney's fortune on yet another after-retirement pastime. The portfolio of properties worth $578 million. Only land and properties are loved by Bezos more than boats. The majority of millionaires do, and Bezos has good taste in this area. Bezos has been buying expensive mansions since the late 1990s, unlike his rival Elon Musk, who doesn't mind sleeping in over 50,000 collapsible homes. Bezos paid $10 million for a 20,600 square foot 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom home on a 5.3-acre tract in Medina, Seattle, back in 1998 when Amazon was still a fledgling business. Bill Gates, the richest man in the world at the time, lived close by this home. Amazon had already reached new heights by 2005, so Bezos invested an additional $50 million in a nearby estate with 800,300 square feet, 5 bedrooms, and 4 bathrooms. 310 feet of beachfront were shared by all the estates. Bezos has since kept spending tens of millions buying homes and land across America. He purchased a $16 million 3-bedroom penthouse on the 20th floor of 212 Fifth Avenue in a luxe Manhattan scraper at the height of the pandemic. He had already paid a total of $80 million for the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th floors of that same building before this acquisition. He paid $23 million buying a former textile museum in the affluent Kalorama neighborhood of Washington. In January 2020, Bezos purchased a 4,800 square foot house next door to the museum for $5 billion only for solitude. However, Bezos purchased a $23 million apartment in a historic building in 2021 after retiring, having already spent $96 million on 4 different residences. Then, in a predictable ultimate boss move, Bezos bought the most expensive house in Maui, Hawaii, by channeling Bruce Wayne. Bezos bought out the holding corporation that owned the land instead of paying for the property, which cost $78 million. There isn't much information online about the property because it was never publicly listed, but what we do know is that it has a staggering 14 acres and multiple features, including a 4,500 square foot main house and a 1,700 square foot guest house constructed in the classic Hawaiian plantation style. Elon Musk versus Jeff Bezos. One of the most exciting things to see has to be 2 billionaires competing against one another, especially when they decide to outweigh one another financially. This appears to be the situation right now between Jeff Bezos and his crazy rival Elon Musk. In fact, the eccentric billionaire Elon Musk accused Bezos of mimicking him as early as 2017, when the latter paid $1.3 billion to buy an electric self-driving startup for what, at the time, seemed to be no clear reason. Elon Musk is the undisputed EV billionaire as well as a SpaceX billionaire, so it's easy to sympathize with Musk when Jeff Bezos spends $5.5 billion on his own aerospace company, Blue Origin, to spend 4 minutes in space just days after retiring. No one knows Jeff Bezos for building electric cars. That's Elon Musk's rodeo. Was Bezos now emulating Musk? Actually, no. You see, SpaceX was created 2 years after Blue Origin, which has been around a little longer. But while Bezos was preoccupied with everything else in 2017, Musk revolutionized space travel. Bezos declared that he would be selling $1 billion worth of Amazon shares annually to fund his space ambitions, so he must have felt pressure to stay relevant in the space sector. We can confirm that just in 2021, Bezos has been selling Amazon shares. There is no way to verify whether he invested the $2 billion worth of shares he sold into Blue Origin. But hold on, think about this. It is therefore reasonable to assume that Bezos may have invested those billions as promised. Therefore, it's possible that Bezos is simply doing his own thing and isn't actually following Musk. The mountain clock. The wristwatches for a gadget that primarily serves as a timepiece have to be among the most absurdly expensive and yet absurdly cheap luxury things ever found on the market. Brands like Rolex or Patek Philippe, which may cost up to millions of dollars, are among the market's most outrageously costly goods, and watches are frequently seen as indicators of excessive wealth. Actually, that's not true because Elon Musk, Zuckerberg, Gates, and many other top billionaires like Jeff Bezos either don't wear watches at all or wear substantially less expensive ones. For instance, Bezos has only been spotted wearing a $12,000 Ulysses Nardin dual time since his retirement. It may seem like a lot of money to you, but Bezos is already worth it. I don't think I need to explain to you how much $12,000 is worth. What has Bezos avoided spending on watches then? He just made up for it with a $42 million mountain clock project that is incredible and still under development. In 2018, Bezos first had the idea for a massive clock that would be carved out of a mountain. Since then, he has hired engineers and builders to construct a gigantic multi-room clock inside a mountain in West Texas. But what makes this clock unique? How much does it cost exactly? $42 million? The clock is enormous, 500 feet tall, and most items of that size are inexpensive. On the other hand, it will be mechanically powered by day-night heat cycles and synchronized at noon. Additionally, the clock is made to only tick once a year and chime once every 1,000 years. Jeff Bezos is essentially creating a clock that will keep time for the next 10,000 years. He has defended this expensive and absurd endeavor by saying that the clock will serve as a reminder to people that the far future not only exists, but will also affect their descendants. It is currently unknown when the project will be completed or when the clock for a wristwatch that is practically immortal will be ordered. I'm sure it will take a long time, and since Bezos doesn't seem to be going bankrupt anytime soon, that budget of $42 million could double or triple if the project takes longer than expected to complete. In addition, if you are planning on checking the time when it is finished, you might be out of luck, because the billionaire is doing it on his own property in a remote part of Texas for reasons only he knows. So, what are your thoughts? Were you impressed or amazed? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell button to be updated on our next luxurious contents. Until next time!